1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Aisha Nayab. First, the headlines. Prime Minister will pay a day-long visit to Azad Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow, where he will address public gatherings. Government will spend 469 billion rupees on infrastructure modernization projects to accelerate growth. China has expressed heartfelt gratitude to Pakistan for its care and support over devastating floods in Henan province. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, All Parties Hurriyat Conference has urged UN Secretary General to take serious cognizance of Indian state terrorism in the disputed territory. In India, thousands of security forces have been deployed in New Delhi to stop farmers' protest who renew their campaign against the government's agricultural reforms. Chairman, US Joint Chief of Staff, says insecurity is growing in Afghanistan as foreign troops complete their withdrawal from the country. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan will pay a day-long visit to Azad Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow, where he will address public gatherings. The Prime Minister will address gatherings at Tarar Khal and Kotli, where he will highlight the goals of development achieved by the government during the last 3 years. Government will spend 469 billion rupees on infrastructure modernizing projects for accelerating growth. An amount of over 228 billion rupees have been earmarked for energy sector projects during current fiscal year, while 90.313 billion rupees for water sector projects. The government has allocated 14,000 million rupees for efficient implementation of the first phase of 10 billion trees tsunami program. Modern, efficient and connected transport infrastructure networks are positively associated with development and rapid growth. For transport and logistics sectors, 173.8 billion rupees were allocated during last fiscal year, of which 127.6 billion rupees have been utilized. An amount of 302 billion rupees have been earmarked for the development programs of the transport and logistics in the current fiscal year. The government under Public Sector Development Program will spend 14.327 billion rupees on environment protection projects to meet the challenge of climate change. In the current fiscal budget, the government has increased allocation of Public Sector Development Program by 38%, raising it from 650 billion rupees to 900 billion rupees. According to details of allocation for Climate Change Division, more than 14 billion rupees will be spent on ongoing projects, while 300 million rupees on new schemes. The ongoing projects included Climate Resilient Urban Human Settlements Unit, establishment of Pakistan Awash Strategic Planning and Coordination Cell Islamabad, and 10 billion tree tsunami program phase 1, upscaling of a Green Pakistan program. The new schemes include the capacity building on water quality monitoring and SDG 6 Islamabad. Chairman Senate Mohammad Sadiq Sinjarani called on Governor Balochistan Syed Zahoor Ahmed Agha at Governor House in Quetta today. They exchanged Eid greetings and prayed for development and prosperity of the country. They also discussed overall political situation of the country and the province. Chairman, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority Lieutenant General retired Asim Salim Bajwa says livestock and fisheries sectors in areas close to Khunjira Pass would be developed under CPAG. In a tweet, the chairman said work is underway to address the challenges in the way of benefiting from the potential sectors. He said during his visit to the area, he met with the local farmers and discussed with them about the crops and yields. China has expressed heartfelt gratitude to Pakistan for its care and support over devastating floods in Henan province. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijiang during his regular briefing in Beijing, said China and Pakistan are all-weather strategic cooperative partners and true friends standing with each other in difficulties. The spokesperson said this year marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between the two countries. He said China is ready to make use of this anniversary to promote our relations to a new height and inject new power into building a new type of international relations. 33 people have died so far from heavy rains that have deluded Henan and provincial capital Zhejiang for almost a week. This is Radio Pakistan. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All-Parties Hurriyat Conference has expressed a deep concern over the Indian policy of colonialism, terming it brazen violations of the United Nations Security Council resolutions, which clearly defined Jammu and Kashmir as a disputed territory. According to Kashmir Media Service, the APHC General Secretary Maulvi Bashir Ahmad Irfani, in a statement issued in Srinagar today, termed the issuance of the domicile certificates to the non-state subject spouses as a brazen conspiracy of implementation of the new set of laws to change the demography of the disputed territory. He said that India as an aggressor has crossed all limits of illegal expansionism, which had never been accepted by the freedom-loving people of Kashmir. The APHC leader urged the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres to take serious cognizance of the Indian state terrorism and its expansionist designs in the disputed territory. In India, thousands of security forces have been deployed across New Delhi today to stop farmers' protests who are renewing a campaign against government agriculture reforms. Police are manning barricades and roadblocks around Delhi as the farmers come to the protest site in the buses. The farmers who vowed to stage a demonstration every day during a parliamentary session that ends on August 13. A protesting farmer, Devinder Singh, said, "As long as Parliament is on, we will protest here. Wherever we are stopped and there are barricades, we will sit there and have our own farmers' parliament." U.S. Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Mark Milley, has said that over 200 of the 419 district centers are under Taliban control in Afghanistan. At a news conference in Washington, he said insecurity has been growing in Afghanistan in recent weeks as U.S.-led foreign troops complete their withdrawal. Earlier, 15 diplomatic missions and NATO representatives in Afghanistan urged the Taliban to halt its offenses. Almost all U.S. troops except those protecting the embassy in Kabul and airport have left the country. Tajikistan has checked the combat readiness of its armed forces in the biggest such exercise in the country's history as Taliban makes sweeping gains in neighboring Afghanistan. Taliban's 230,000 members of security forces were alert for the test on the order of President Emomali Rahmon. The operation was broadcast on Tajik state television and ended with a military parade headed by President Rahmon, in which he called on his countrymen to be ready to defend peace and stability in the region. He said the situation in Afghanistan, especially its northern regions bordering Tajikistan, is extremely complex and uncertain and getting more complicated day by day and even hour by hour. The Tajik president called on armed forces and law enforcement agencies to keep highest level of combat readiness to prevent political potential threats and to ensure protection of the state borders. China has rejected a World Health Organization plan for a second phase of an investigation into the origin of the coronavirus. Vice Director of the National Health Commission, Zheng Zhizhen, said today that the claim that the SARS-CoV-2 leaked from a Wuhan lab goes against science. Director of the National Biosafety Laboratory, Yuan Jimeng, said that the lab, which studies class 4 pathogens, has the highest biosafety rating and no incidents of leakage ever occurred since it was put into operation in 2018. A Palestinian was killed and 10 others were injured today in an explosion inside a house in Gaza City. Palestinian Interior Ministry statement said the explosion occurred inside a multi-floor house in Al Zawiya marketplace, causing the building to collapse. And finally, the weather. Rain, wind, thunder showers expected in Sindh, Upper Punjab, North Balochistan, Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan during the next 12 hours. However, hot and humid weather is expected elsewhere in the country. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletin on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.